So I'm here with Melissa Meeker, who is Chief Executive Officer of the Water Tower in Gwinnett County, Georgia. Water Tower is actually did the grand opening on the campus on April 22nd, 2022, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yes. And what a wonderful time. So it's been almost 2 years now, coming up on 2 years that you'll be all together on the campus and doing amazing things. So welcome. It's great to be with you.
Thank you. Great to be here as usual.
So why don't we start off before we get into the Designer Water Security Conference that you've designed, that you're bringing to fruition in April. Talk just a few minutes about some of the key, although many, things that have been accomplished at the Water Tower in that first 16 months.
Yeah, I mean it's really been a whirlwind, right? I think what we're seeing is increase in the number of events, increase in participation in the events. We are right now, if you hear construction noise above me, it's the last suite being built out. So we'll be completely full in the next 4 weeks, which is awesome. Because that's all revenue for the nonprofit so that we can actually, do programming. I think in the last year, we made the shift from trying to figure out what the water tower was and what the building could do and started doing our own programming, which is always exciting because we're water nerds and we want to do water things. So yeah, it's been great.
So, and you mentioned events. Let me just mention here that you can go to the Water Tower at h2otower.org and look at events and news, and you can see all the events. And there's a full calendar. I've been in it over the last couple of days, a very full calendar of events and certainly also news of what's going on at this wonderful facility in Georgia.
Yep, and we hold regular tours for the public to let them come in and see the labs and the classrooms and the events that are going on, and take them over to the plant and give them a tour of that as well. So that's a regular monthly thing that's on the calendar that you'll see, and it's free to sign up. So I encourage anyone who's in the area or passing through to stop by and say hi.
Oh, that's great. So now let's talk about coming up April 23rd and 24th. It may be the first ever, but it's certainly, I think, the first at the Water Tower, is the Design of Water Security. It's a cybersecurity conference that I guess you're going to have researchers and experts in the field in presentation. So if you would, why don't you talk about the overall, and then we'll get into a few details so people can hear what it is, and then certainly go to h2owatertower.org and register. But go ahead.
Okay. We're, as an industry, kind of slow to catch on to things. And as we continue to see attacks, cyber attacks at our utilities, generally ransomware but a couple of trigger, OT things. It's just a growing area of interest, I think, for our industry, and people are still trying to understand what it is. It's not just simple IT anymore. It's more than that. People, their attacks are getting more, more highly focused, right, on these things. So anything we can do to get a baseline out to our utilities to help them understand their risks, help them understand what resources are out there. And then for me, a big focus has always been connecting the academics with the practitioners. So this conference sort of brings both together. So it'll either be a great success or a massive failure. But last year we did a nice little full day training session on IT, OT, cybersecurity. We capped the class at 25 and had 25 people register pretty quickly. We wanted to see if there was a need of interest and that kind of thing, but that was a partnership with Singapore University of Technology and Design. They have over there a thing called I Trust Labs. And they actually have a miniature water treatment facility. I say it's miniature, it's like the size of, you've seen our big
Yeah.
conference space. It's about that size. So it's in a building, fills up the building. And they have people come in from all over the world and hack into that system. So they launch attacks on it. And they show them what that looks like, and they do these really intense hands-on training. So we want to duplicate that here in the US. So we've been talking to them, doing some different things. Last year's event was the first one. So we decided to launch this conference and see, you know, what could happen from it. So it's a 2-day conference. First day is focused on academics and academic research. So we have academics coming from around the world. I think they got something like 20 or 25 abstracts, and they're going through those right now. The selected abstracts will be announced next week. And I'm putting together the agenda for day 2, which is an industry, more of a practitioner day. And we've got, EPA, Association of State Drinking Water Associate, policy director on cybersecurity, a couple utility leaders in this space, and then a number of companies like Siemens and Tetra Tech and others that are participating in the event for that second day, industry day. So, we expect it is the first one. So we expect it to be a smaller, more intimate group. Hopefully we'll get a couple hundred people, and see what comes out of it. In the second day, we're also going to have roundtables on specific topics. So more information will be going out in the next week or so on what the agenda is, who the speakers are, and how you can register. So yeah, it would be great if you guys could push it out, and we hope to get a really good attendance in this one.
We will do that. Who do you look at as your primary audience that's going to be on site? What's the character there?
As you know, Frank, our what we try to do is take industry and mesh it with the utilities, right? So we know we've got the academics coming. We know we've got the industry reps coming. What we're really targeting right now are utility representatives, again, and getting them the information so that they know what's going on in the space. They can ask questions. They can see demos of different technologies. So we'll have, vendors that will be showing off their wares. So yeah, I mean, it's getting the word out to those industry partners and other groups, utilities that will get something out of it.
Certainly with cybersecurity, which certainly has been around a long time, probably the 3 most important areas that we should be astute and aware is transportation, communications, and water.
Yep.
The shutdown, the disruption of any of these 3 is cataclysmic. I mean, it's huge. It causes a quake, literally a quake across the nation, certainly across the world. So this is certainly, I'm not going to say about time, but I'm saying about time. I mean that, and I know that you're working here and you're being a pioneer with this, and certainly my hope would be that you would get a significant audience from the utility field, that it would come in and learn more about this. I was visiting the water utility here in Hart County about 2 weeks ago, and we actually talked about this.
Oh, nice.
And about your conference, and also getting from the director there what their thinking is on it. Hart County is a small county, but it's certainly it's on the lake, but any disruption is like I said, it's cataclysmic, and it can do a lot of things, whether it's cause sickness or shut down the capability with water. So in a general term, so there's 2 days, and the partners, your utilities, you would want to have participating in both days.
If possible. Now, I do have just in talking to people, a lot of people have said, oh, we're going to come to day 2, which I totally get.
Right.
But I think it's important that our academics hear the concerns firsthand from utilities.
Yes.
Off sitting in a laboratory or server room doing things on their own doesn't really help the industry. So the more we can push the two together, the better off we are.
So what would you look at? You go through this, you do the 2 days. What would you like to see as the outcome from it? What would you like? What's the next?
It's interesting as you watch where the industry is coming from and where they're going, and EPA's sort of stop and starts really in this space,
Yeah.
proposed something and then backed off of it. The reality of it is that we've got to do something. So if we walk out of there and utilities have a better understanding of where to begin, I
Mhm.
think we've succeeded, right?
Mhm.
And hopefully we'll be able to take out information, for people who couldn't come, take information out of the conference and send that out to all of our contacts and disseminate it as far and wide so that we can give them at least the resources of where they can turn to. But again, in this space, I think it's important that they interact together. Even the utilities interacting together to learn from each other and see what's working and what isn't working and those kinds of things. And you can only do that, in a group.
Is there that you're aware of a model utility in this area that has already maybe begun or is in process or?
Yeah, one of our leading utility people speaking is Roger from Hampton Roads. So you may remember they actually had a ransomware 3 or 4 years ago.
Is this
And it
is this Texas?
Virginia,
Okay.
Virginia. Um, and it shut down their utility.
Yeah.
So because of that, they've now beefed up a lot of things, and not just on the IT side, the ransomware side, but also in the OT space, which is totally different. So I think that's part of what we're going to discuss at the conference is what are the differences, what are the similarities, how do you learn from one and carry it over to the other, and all those kinds of things as well. So yeah, so I would say they're definitely on the top. I know the city of Houston's done a lot. There are a number of utilities that have stepped out, but there's a whole bunch of utilities, as you know, that are just going up. I don't know where to start. So
Exactly. So while people are there, and some people will be there for the first time, will there be an opportunity for them to experience the water tower? I mean, as far as
of course, I'm always bragging.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a couple tours set up, or at least an introduction to what we're all about. We're doing a reception in between, so that the night of the first night. So that'll be an opportunity too for people to walk around and see things and see what's going on in the lab and out in the demo area.
Well, Melissa, sounds very exciting, and certainly we'll be watching it, and certainly promoting it, and answering questions and sending people to your registration site and so forth. And once again, it's always wonderful to speak with you, and it's always exciting to hear what's going on at the water tower in Gwinnett County.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
You too.